Cheers. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it took that long to get working. Thanks guys for tuning in. I'm in the office today to go over some theory with y'all. So who do we have here? Type in where you're at, who you're from. Wait, no, type in who you are, where you're at. You know the routine. We've got Tony, we've got David, Robert. Good to see y'all. Patreon members, of course. Bill, thanks for joining in. B, thank you. Let's see, what are you saying? Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, it's a long process. But I always say you got to enjoy the process of learning and trying out new things. There's a lot of theory, as of recently, especially a lot of just some things to try out, a lot of things that maybe explain certain sounds. So today our topic is going to be the melodic minor scale. Initially, I was going to cover just three, but I thought I'd cover four. The D4 melodic minor, they each kind of yield a different flavor, a different sound. I was watching a Pat Martino video the other day. It's called Quantum Guitar, and there could be five. He starts a melodic minor scale on a dominant chord on the third degree. That one kind of has a major seven in it, so I decided not to talk about that one, and I'm going to talk about the four. There's actually three that are probably the most popular, but I'm including the fourth one too, just to cover all the ground for the melodic minor scale use over a dominant chord. Of course, a melodic minor scale can be used just on a minor chord. That's the face value. You have a C minor 6 chord, you play C melodic minor. The melodic minor scale by nature is 1-2 flat, by the formula rather, 1-2 flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A lot of people just say, hey, it's a major scale with a flat 3. You can definitely think of it, but I kind of prefer to think of it as a Dorian mode with a major 7. So let's kind of talk about that first. I'm going to try to get this white board here, get the glare out. I see there's two lights there. By the way, thanks for joining me on this. This is more of a theory lesson today, kind of going over the overview. So first of all, I do want you to know what the melodic minor scale is, and I'm going to be erasing this. So I'll just kind of, if we start with just a C melodic minor scale, I'm just using C as an example. By the way, if you want the PDF to the bulk of this session, it's in the link, it's in the description, and it is free. You can just grab it, it's just a PDF. But let's first of all just name what a C melodic minor scale is, just using the root of C. As I just mentioned, one way to think of it is major scale with a flat 3. That's actually probably the easiest way to think of it. So you just do this: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, and then you flat the 3. Bam, that's a C melodic minor scale. So if you all can spell your 12 major scales, then you just flat the 3, then you forgot a melodic minor. So the formula is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I often talk about this when I'm in my gypsy jazz or improvisation classes. I always say, ooh, I love the melodic minor scale. I really do love that scale. So just to show you here, C melodic minor, I'll play C minor 6 chord. Here's C minor 7. If you don't know your minor 6 chord, here's a flat 7, here's a 6. And that helps you quite a bit. So when you visualize the scale, here's a chord, minor 7, minor 6. This scale is 1, 2, flat 3. This is off of C, just for demonstration. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5. And then notice I'm going to cross over here to the 6. And then the major 7. It's a very beautiful flavor. Then you can go up another octave. That's a C minor 6 chord right now. That's typically what I would just say the word face value. Okay, but what we're going to talk today is that you can apply this over dominant chords like a B7. And that's how you get some of these really cool expensive chords, really lush and exotic flavors that we hear with all the great improvisers. Um, going beyond the diatonic just within the key. By the way, if you enjoy these lessons, feel free to do this. And of course, consider joining me on Patreon. I appreciate it. So, again, that's a C melodic minor. You can also get the Master Scales PDF from my Patreon page. So, but what we're going to talk about today, and it's written on that PDF. So, but mainly, I first of all just want to make sure that you know what the melodic minor scale is. Okay, the next step, and this is not a melodic minor lesson per se, just this is actually more advanced. We're actually going to be covering what melodic minor scales we can use over a dominant chord that yields some different flavors. But it is important to know this. Okay, it is important to know that you can. This is something I recommend in general to do with any scale you're learning. And again, I'm not going to go through the full blown deal that I usually would, but I will on a separate lesson because this is important too. I'd say go through your triads. You have C, E flat, G, that's C minor, D, F, A, D minor, E, G, B, E flat, G, B, that's E flat augmented, G, B, D, that's a major triad. And then you want to do the seventh chords, C, E flat, G, B, that's C minor major 7, D, F, A, C, that's D minor 7. Type in the comments. I'm kind of curious, actually, if you don't mind. Tell me if you do you know the chords that are in the melodic minor scale? It's basically just a harmonized melodic scale. Do you all know the chords? You could just simply say yes or no. And again, I want to know because I want to help and give you information and go through it carefully, go through it slowly. And what's interesting is that even though I said that the seventh chord is C, E flat, G, B, which is this cool chord, C minor major 7. Oh, wow. Okay, good. Thanks for letting me know. C minor major 7, which is C minor major 9, this chord. So again, you get some really beautiful chords, just again, from face value, like just on C minor, I'm just going to say this, I'm going to get a little bit closer. You don't need to see my face. So I'm going to talk about this. This is just something I'm going to talk about because this ties in really closely to what I'm talking about. And let's just spend 5 minutes on this topic. If we look at this, C, E flat, G, that's a C minor triad. Okay, that's very important that you know that. C minor triad. This is melodic minor theory here again. And just on the C melodic minor, we have a C minor triad. If we extend it to the 6 here, we get C minor 6. Okay, and I hope you know a C minor 6 chord. Hopefully you know an arpeggio, C minor 6. Now we also have, well, check this out. We can have that, and that's a C minor 6, 9. Now that's a beautiful chord too. C minor 6, 9. Sorry, I'm really close here. Here's C minor 9. Here's C minor 6, 9. So I'm going to C minor 9, C minor 6, 9. I took that flat 7 and I went to the 6. And that's going to be used as C melodic minor scale. And now I'm playing C minor major 7. This is usually my go-to chord shape. This is a C minor triad. Okay. And then here's C minor. You take that octave and you go down a half step. Thanks, Randy, for chiming in, and Bill too. All of you, Carl or Gerhard, thank you. Joe Mama, C minor, C minor major 7, C minor 7. And this is actually not, this chord, C minor 7, is not in the melodic minor scale because it has a B natural and an A natural, but not a B flat. So it doesn't. But if you're playing a song like My Funny Valentine, My Funny Valentine, that second chord, that's a great scale. You can do that melodic minor. And then it goes to C minor 7, sweet, and then that's a B flat. Now you'd run Dorian or Aeolian, but Dorian would probably be the choice scale. Again, this is important. Just to have soloing strategies to the chord so that you're playing to the chord. And then you get this C minor 6 chord. And again, I love that melodic minor. And that's used so much in swing and gypsy jazz. You have a minor 6 chord. And that's why I like the melodic minor so much. Django Reinhardt used that quite a bit as well. Okay, so let's take a look at that minor major 7, and then we can go on and talk about the dominant chord. If we extend this, so look at, you got a C minor triad, you got a C minor 6 chord, you got a C minor 6/9. Really love that chord. And I'm going to take out the 6 here, take out the 9. If we do this, I'm just showing you these different sounds. That's a C minor major 7. That's a sweet sound. That's the one I just showed you, that second chord of My Funny Valentine, of Blue Skies. It don't mean it, that cliche, that walk down. It's a beautiful sound, okay? So again, get used to playing those C minor variations, because for me personally, that's where a lot of my lines will come out of. I hit the chord, C minor major 7. Here's the scale. Maybe here. That's a C minor major 7 with the added 9. Yes, it's the second chord, it's Stairway to Heaven. This, I think of that as melodic minor. So I'm thinking this. Okay, but we're going to be using this over B7 sharp 5. We're going to be going. So we're going to be thinking that. Oh, I got a heart. Thanks. Is that true? Did I get a heart? Sorry, my phone's in my pocket. It's uncomfortable. So again, there's so much good stuff that will come out of it. And I'm just kind of sharing with you some of these concepts. You've got to experiment. Okay, it's just theory until you really experiment with it. But I do just want to stress the importance of just having fun, noodling around with the melodic minor scale. That's why I'm showing it to you here off of C. And here's a B7. Same scale, but you get these beautiful chord colors like I'm talking about. This, you get this, you get this. Okay, all these different chords, and then your licks and your lines will be extracted from that. Okay, now let's talk shop. I appreciate you guys typing in. There's a few more viewers. Just let me know. My question, because this will be an upcoming topic. Do you know what chords are extracted from the melodic minor scale? I always start with triads, then you go to 7th chords and some 6th chords, even the 9th chord. See what I'm saying? It's a really beautiful topic to examine. Just like you were to take a diatonic major scale, you have major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, half diminished, just same thing. We want to go through that. We want to do that with a harmonic minor scale. So those will all be some upcoming lessons, since it looks like I don't want to, today's topic is pretty advanced, but if you can do this, what I was talking about here, just taking the melodic minor scale face value, then I'm going to show you 4 different applications. Let's go ahead and get started on this. You can check in the PDF too. The link in the description if you want to grab it. And again, if you're just tuning in today, thanks for tuning in. Today's a pretty heavy theory day. It's an advanced soloing concept. But first of all, make sure you can play your melodic minor scale. I recommend starting it on the 6th string root, starting it on the 5th string root, and then the 4th string root. If you have those shapes, that you can play it comfortably on, that's pretty good. Okay. So let's get to the bulk of the lesson today, and that's basically the concept of, you'll hear this quite a bit, at least I've heard it quite a bit over the years, talking about shop talk of, play the melodic minor off the 5th degree. That's actually a Pat Martino concept that he talked about a lot. He liked to think off the 5th of the dominant chord. So if you have an A7, he would play these beautiful lines off of E minor and E melodic minor. So again, that's kind of what I'm talking about today. We're going to start with, and this is again on the PDF, but I'm going to walk you through it slowly. Let's take a G7 chord. This is the G dominant 7 chord. You got to spell your chords, right, Robert? You got to be able to spell any chord. G dominant 7. You can type it in the chat if you want. This is good for you to think about it. Don't just wait for me to write it. I want to say G7 and you say G, B, D, F. All right, that's the 1, that's the 3, that's the 5, that's the flat 7. That's just your plain old G7 chord. So the first, and this is again on the PDF, the first one I'm going to talk about that you can play is off the 5th degree, and that's D melodic minor. Okay, D melodic minor. I often abbreviate, many of my students know, I just put DMM, DMM, that means melodic minor. Guess what? Now you got to spell a D melodic minor scale with me, okay? So let's start on the root, you got the D. And I'm going to probably erase these. I'm not going to leave these up, but it's all summarized on the piece of paper. But there's something very important about going through the process and not just looking at the paper, but actually going through that. This is why I'm doing today's lesson, so that you can go through this with me. I'm going to write it a little bit bigger here. The first one here, D melodic minor, we got D, we have E, we've got F. Okay, but off of D, it's 1, 2, flat 3. Now we need the 4, which is G. We need the 5, which is A. We need the 6, which is B. And then we need the major 7, which is C sharp. Okay, that's a D melodic minor. So we've got the D melodic minor scale right now. But now, when I'm kind of just telling you, I want you to try it out, but we'll talk about why it sounds so cool and examine some chords. We've got the D melodic minor, but I'm saying you can play that. This is very common and popular. You can play it over a G7 chord. So basically you say, okay, I'm starting on the 5th degree and I'm playing D melodic minor. Now I'm going to erase this formula. Okay, we got the scale written, but now we're going to look at how it relates to a G7 chord. Okay, D's the 5th, E is the 13. This on a G7 chord, it's a 6, but once we're on a dominant chord, we actually call it a 13. And then here's your flat 7. G's the root, A is, and think about this with me. I'm gonna slow down a little bit. Robert, I called you out, Robert. I'm just looking at some. Oh, harmonic minor is important. We'll do this for the harmonic minor as well. We got the 5, we got the 13, we got the flat 7, we got the root, we've got the 9. I'm slowing down because I want you to do this with me. And B is the 3rd. What about C sharp? C sharp can be thought of as a D flat, okay? You can have 2 names. So is it the sharp 11 or the flat 5? That's the color note we really want to get. Okay, so basically it's like a Mixolydian scale, right, off of G, but we have the sharp 11. That's often referred to as Lydian dominant scale, but I'm not going to go into those terminologies. I think that could be rather confusing. So instead, I'm just going to keep it to melodic minor, a 5th on the 5th degree, and just soak that in for a minute as I soak in some coffee. And type in the chat if you're enjoying these lessons, or do this if you enjoy it. So again, the chord that we would get is that we can extract the chord. We get like a G7 flat 5. That's common. So play it for you. Here's G7 flat the 5. Right, a lot of bossa nova. Here's D melodic minor. Right, that's a great color. We also can play G. We also get G9, And if you want G9 with the sharp 11, we did this song recently. That's a perfect scale for that color. Christmas time is here. On that chord, it's a 9 with a sharp 11. That's the time you play the melodic minor scale off the 5th to get that 9 sharp 11. If you play a lot of swing or gypsy jazz, you're probably familiar with this tune. That's a Limehouse Blues. C9. Ba-da-da. You get that sharp 11. What's the 5th of C9? G. You play G melodic minor. And yes, that's what Django Reinhardt does himself, the legend. You play melodic minor off the 5th degree to get the 9 sharp 11. Okay? This is important for you to go through the process. Play your favorite songs. What about this song? You guys know that song instantly from that motif? Who knows it? Oh, thank you, Kalas Kalas. Yeah, the 13. If it's a dominant chord, we generally call it a 13. It's labeled 13 instead of just a 6. You go up above the octave. What song is this, you guys? Come on. Who can name that tune from that melody? Thank you, Virginia. September song. Good. I know you know it. I'm just wanting some group participation here. So, there we go. Wow, thanks. See that chord, that first chord is September song? You play melodic minor off the 5th degree. I mean, this is just one scale. This is just me showing you. You could do other things. You get bluesy, you know, but that brings out that flavor, and that's what I'm talking about. Okay, I think you guys get the point of where I'm going with application. So I'll kind of just cruise through these a little bit more. I don't want this to be too long. Again, that's off the 5th degree. This is all on that PDF, but I'm doing examples with you here so you can hear it too and also see it and for you to apply. If you miss this lesson, then you're missing out on a pretty heavy, important lesson. This will be archived on Patreon and on YouTube as a member if you have to go. Okay, so I'm going to erase this. That's number 1. Another really nice sound is starting on the flat 7. So off the off the flat 7 is D, F. Jeez, I need more coffee. F melodic minor. Okay, we're gonna go through this process again. You guys spell it with me. Ready? Process. Let's get closer here. F melodic minor. Ready? Root. That's easy. 2, G. Flat 3. Say it or play it, A flat. 4, B flat. 5, C. 6, D. You guys typing it? Camera is low. Thank you. Thanks, Tom. And then the major 7 is E. That's an F. I'm not going to continue with F. I'm not going to complete the 8 there. It's F. That's an F melodic minor scale. Okay, we've got the formula 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and of course F as the octave. But now what we want to do is see how it relates to the G7 chord. So in this case, the little trick, the hack, whatever you want to call it, is we go down a whole step to the flat 7 and we play a melodic minor scale. What does it give us? Ready? This is exciting. Getting rid of this. Now we're going to relate it instead. This is like math. Sorry, guys. It's like, I feel like an instructor today. So what we're doing here is looking how these notes relate to G7. Well, this is the flat 7. Okay. This is the root. Da-dum, bluesy. No, look at this A flat. That's dark. That's a flat 9. I know some of you are saying flat 2. Just like we said the 6, we wouldn't call it a 13. The 2, we're calling it a 9 because of the dominant chord and the alterations. So this is called a flat 9. That's dark from the G. Okay, we're thinking off of G, remember, because we're applying it to a G7 chord. B flat, you could probably say, oh, that's the minor third, the flat 3. Well, guess what? We're going to be calling it the Jimi Hendrix note, sharp 9. Django used that quite a bit, that color, sharp 9. So yeah, technically we would be renaming it to an A sharp if you wanted to. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to confuse you too much. But yeah, all of these can have different enharmonic names. Okay? So we've got the flat 7, we've got the root. This is all in relation to the G, flat 9, sharp 9. Okay? We've got the 11. I know you're probably saying, oh, that's the 4. It could be called 4. Jazzers like to call it the 11. Again, these are the extension names. And then the 5. And then the 13. Okay? So take that in for a sec. So if you look at some chords, G7, sharp 9, flat 9, G13. This note's pretty important. This is part of the sus sound. So you'd often do like a G7, this is quite popular, G7 flat 9 with the sus. And a lot of times you'll just say, play F minor against G in the bass. That's just kind of what you just think about. It's F minor over G or F minor. It'd actually be F minor, like I said, F minor 6 or F minor major 7 over a G bass. Beautiful, beautiful sounds. These are just some possibilities, but again, you want to bring out some of these flavors. So here's a G bass. Here's an F minor. You get some of these really beautiful sounds. Is that gorgeous? Just these beautiful colors. So this is quite a popular chord, F over G. That's a G9 sus 4, G7 flat 9 sus. And that's when you would bust out your F melodic minor. Okay. The 1 chord, and back to this. So I'm pretending I'm doing like a 5-1 vamp. Like I'm in the key of C. I've got a C major. And then I put F minor / G. It's a sus. Really kind of darker flavor. And then you go. I love this sound. Listen to Pat Metheny's his outro vamp. Like seriously, you can do this after the lesson. Make a note. He's using a lot of these out colors and a lot of these different variations. But listen to the vamp on the 2 for the Road with Charlie Hayden, Beyond the Missouri Sky. The outro vamp is kind of like this. The 1 to the 5 with that sus, that minor sus, the flat 9, back and forth. You can vamp on that for hours. It's so beautiful. And I keep kind of nodding at you when that chord would change because I don't have my loop pedal with me. Major, C major, ready, F melodic minor. Give it a try. C major. And when I say C major, you could go pentatonic. Just keep it something inside, pretty, right? And then that kind of reminds me also of never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Who knows that song? Type it in. Quizzing you guys. That B section there, right? You know that B section what I'm talking about? Kenneth, good to see you. I know you just joined Patreon recently, Kenneth, so welcome. Blue Skies Randy, I know you know all these tunes. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, that's 2 out of the 4. I'm hoping you are enjoying this. If you are, do that. Let's go into the next one here. And I'm just kind of giving you some examples. And if you know your melodic, the takeaway is, hey, I need to really practice my melodic minor scales, get some lines, start to do these little vamps that help you apply it. Because the tricky part is to navigate through the progression. That's the application of it. Today is just the overview, the theory. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Feel free to type in the chat. I'm checking it out just to see who's tuning in and if you're enjoying these. Okay, you ready for the next one? Now we started on D, the 5th. We started on F, the flat 7. Now we're going to start on, this is a good one. This is the big one here. We're going to go a half step above to the flat 9, as if we're doing like a diminished chord here, essentially. A flat melodic minor. I added the other one in last minute, the 4th one, but this is the one that's the important one here. Ready? You might want to grab your guitar for this because you got to start on A flat. That's the root. Okay, now we need the 2, B flat, right? Now we need the 3, the flat 3. Because remember, here, check this out. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to just do the spelling if you missed it. If you missed it when I first started this session today, I said, you can think of the melodic minor scale as a major scale with a flat 3. So check it out. I'm just going to write an A flat major scale first. See how quick this is? Like almost no thinking involved if you know your major scales. And then we have to flat the 3. Now, generally people don't like to talk C flat because we know that that's just a B, okay? But I'm going to leave it as C flat because that would be the proper name if you were to see it in a book, a music theory book. They would say A flat melodic minor has a C flat. We know it's just a B note on the guitar, in harmonically speaking. So again, here's the formula for the melodic minor scale. Yeah, I included the octave that time around. Okay, you guys hanging with me on this? Now, the fun part. Now we have to relate it to G7. Ready? Well, G's are root, but this is the flat 9. And again, you might say, oh, that's a flat 2. It's the same thing as a flat 2. As a scale, but we're kind of thinking of it as a chord, and that's why I'm talking flat 9 instead of flat 2. B flat is B is the 3, A is the 9. This can also be thought of as A sharp, so again, we're calling this one the sharp 9. Okay, we like that sound. That's a very classic jazz guitar sound to go G7 sharp 9, flat 9, and then flat 9, minor 6, or major 7 for that matter. Resolution. So again, the sharp 9, flat 9. We've got the B, which is the 3, C flat, right, which is the 3 of G, the 3rd. We got the D flat. Well, D's the 5th. See how I'm having referring up here to the chord? So D flat's the flat 5. Okay. It can also be called sharp 11. Okay, just so you know, sharp 11, flat 5. And this one too, I should call it D sharp, because that can be called the sharp 5. But it can also be called a flat 13. They're the same thing. But oftentimes you'll see a sharp 5 chord on the chart, and that's why this is a great scale for that. All right, well, this is the flat 7, we're set, and this is the root. We don't even need the octave there. So check this out. G7, sharp, flat 9, or sharp 9, right? G7, flat 5, or sharp 5. You get all the alter notes in this one. This is thinking a half step above, okay? Off the dominant chord, you go up a half step, that's easy. Up a half step, and then you play your melodic minor that you're working on, and your runs and your licks. And you get all the alter notes. Flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, sharp 5. Okay? Flat 13, you get all the alter notes. A flat melodic minor. Half step above. These are the hacks, these are the tricks. Okay? That's the really important one there. That's the one that's used quite a bit. So again, grab my coffee here. Here's G7. G7 sharp 5, G7 flat 5, G7 sharp 5 flat 9. You can see this? See that shape? See this? That's an A flat minor 6. But I'm putting G in the bass. It's gonna be F minor 7 flat 5 too. Okay. Flat scale. And then C major. So again, I'm kind of doing C major. And then this. Just to show you the colors that we're getting on that dominant chord. Of course, the rhythm section might just be doing G7, but you could be thinking now A flat melodic minor. Now, of course, if we're doing a 2-5-1 key of C, D minor, Dorian maybe, A flat melodic minor, C major, D minor, 7, A flat melodic minor, C major. So I'm just resolving 2, D Dorian, I'll let you guys try it, A flat melodic minor, C major, D Dorian, A flat melodic minor, C major, okay? So D, Dorian, that's just kind of the choice. A flat melodic minor, C major. And I'm just kind of playing some simple lines, nice and slow. D minor 7, melodic minor, see how that adds? It adds that really nice color, just like you're playing chords. That's why I'm so big on. If you like those expensive chords, flavors, pull that out with your soloing. Just run that melodic minor scale and then resolve it to C major. Okay, so again, chords, it's very important that you practice chords so that you hear the harmonies. And I'm kind of talking about like the flavors. Maybe you're like, ooh, I really like that D minor 9 flavor. Well, I would say if you like that D minor 9 chord so much, you should probably be playing F major 7 for your lines, because that contains that F major 7 in there. And then if you like this, that expensive sharp 5, sharp 9, flat 9, those colors, use that scale, work it into your playing. A flat feels like it functions as a leading tone to diminish. Yeah, that's definitely has that, and it has that half whole quality to it too. Yeah, the half step. Good. I'm glad this is helping. If this is new for any of you, these little hacks here, and kind of stressing the importance of learning your melodic minor scale. I'll do another lesson where we just go through the chords. It'll be a quicker lesson, and it'll be a PDF that will accompany that too. This is all just really, the harmonized scale, your diatonic major scales. This is level 2. Once you go beyond your major scale, melodic minor, harmonic minor, a whole tone, octatonic, diminished scale. We did that the other day, by the way. Those are all the important scales. And then there's exotic scales you can use, that has fancy names. I'll do some of those later too. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know today's a lengthy lesson because theory, it's always important to, really dissect it carefully. And it's nice to go through the process versus just saying, read it on a piece of paper. It doesn't mean as much as if you actually go through it yourself and try out these ideas, these little chord vamps. And I'm saying 2, 5, 1 now. We can kind of force feed that in, that flavor. Okay, I got one more for you, and that will be it for today for the 4 melodic minor scales. And this one now is thinking off the 4th degree. And just by the nature of this one, if you're off the 4th degree, it's going to be kind of a suspended style of sound, okay? Because it's the 4, it's 11. So we're going to play C melodic minor. And again, check out how fast, if I asked you now, spell me a C melodic minor scale, you can do this little hack. You can say, okay, I'm going to say C major scale, which is just all the white keys on the piano. And I'm going to flat my 3. Bam! Look at how fast. Look at how fast we spelled that melodic minor scale. C melodic minor. We just spelled the C major scale, which is the easiest scale to spell because, again, it's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, just the white keys on the piano. And then we flatted the 3rd. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's the formula for the melodic minor. Now, I want to go through this process really slowly because I want you to really think about it with me. How does this relate to a G7 chord? Okay. We want to do this for every scale that you learn, every scale that you work on. We want to go through this process. So C is the 11. Okay, it's the 4, but I'm going to call it the 11. We know it's also the 4. D is the 5. E flat, ooh, that could be called the sharp 5 if you want to call it a D sharp. So you have 5 and a sharp 5, or the flat 13, okay? I like to think about it both ways. F is our flat 7. I'm gonna go through this slow. I'll let you guys do this one. What is G in relation to G7? That's the hardest one. That's a joke. That's the root, all right? And then A, what about A? Well, A is the 2, but we're going to call it a 9. So it's a G, we can use it on a G9. And then B is the 3. And then C, again, is the 11. So this one is fairly inside, kind of like the D one. The D melodic minor. We have a sharp 5 for a flat 13. Basically, we can do a G9 chord. With that color, the sharp 5, the augmented 5th, not the sharp 11, but the sharp 5. The D melodic minor gives us the sharp 11, which is a more common sound. But this can also be used on a G7 sharp 5. I like that quite a bit. G7 sharp 5. Okay. Flat 13, whatever you want to call it. G9. So if you want that kind of a Django Reinhardt flavor like this, I would like the whole tone over this But now we can do C melodic minor. Here's C minor. And then Virginia, it's not making sense. This is advanced theory. You'll get there, I promise. Just start off with the basics. Start off with your diatonic major scales. Just understand from the diatonic major scale, you get the triads, okay? You get the tertian triads, major, minor, diminished. And then you also get the seventh chords and sixth chords. And then slowly move into these scales, the harmonic minor, the melodic minor, the diminished, and the whole tone. And I have materials for that on Patreon. And I've got lessons already on a lot of this too. But again, on Patreon, many of you are asking for more advanced style soloing. Oh, it does make sense. Oh, thank you. Good. Okay. Well, that's okay. For many people, it might not. So again, I'm just kind of saying, here's a C minor in this particular one. My funny Valentine, right? That's kind of like what's going on there. You can do that C melodic minor. So if you wanted to kind of, a lot of these minor major 7 chords, you can think of it as it going to the 5 chord, like this. My funny Valentine. See what I mean? Sweet comic Valentine. So, or blue skies for that matter. Let's see. What key am I in? Blue sky. I'll do it in C minor. Blue, same progression. Blue. Let's see what key I'm in. Blue skies. See, G7 augmented. Smiling at me. Blue. So again, that's beautiful use of it is on that cliche there on the second chord. You can play the melodic minor because that's often going to that. This. Some books will say that on that cliche. They won't just say C minor major 7. They'll actually say augmented for that. And that's part of the melodic minor scale is that augmented. Because it has that augmented triad. Well, that concludes today's lessons. I hope you enjoyed this overview of melodic minor theory. And we covered the basic scale formula. Experiment, try it out. Join me on Patreon. I'm going to be releasing a lot more on this, expanding this topic, because so far on Patreon, I've really focused heavily on blues scales, pentatonics, modes, harmonic minor, whole tone, some diminished, lots of whole tone stuff because Django Reinhardt uses so much. And the melodic minor, more for the face value, but not a lot of the superimposition that a lot of the modern players like Pat Metheny, Herbie Hancock, piano players, Chick Corea, of course, those guys were giving these really, Oscar Peterson too, and Joe Pass, they're using these colors that can be extracted from this. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Hope to see you on Patreon. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Cheers.